Hello, everybody. So I am Ludovic Noiry, working from Nokia Bell Labs, and what I will present today is several works we do in the past years about IoT network control and management. This includes also some work with Nesrine Amar and Sébastien Tixoy from Sorbonne University for the PhD thesis of Nesrine, who defended her thesis beginning of this year. So the outline of our presentation is the following. I will first explain the context of this presentation, which is the one of IoT private networks. Then I will describe three different types of works that we do in the team in which I am working in Bell Labs. First, a platform as then a cloud-based platform for IoT private networks, which is called Future Spaces, and has also other names. Then I will talk about IoT service recommendation and IoT device type identification. There is a fourth work that we begin to work, which is IoT network monitoring, and I will end this talk with this ongoing work and the conclusion. So first, about the context of IoT private network. We need first to well define what we mean by Internet of Things, which is a word which is used in many ways, so here I will explain what we mean in this presentation for IoT. IoT, so it is Internet of Things, so there are two words. Things mean really anything. It can be any connected end device in the network. Things are usually understood as small devices interacting with the environments or humans, and usually they have limited capacities. But the before IoT era machines like PCs or laptops are also things in the network, so they are also part of the IoT in what we understand by IoT in this presentation. It's not only small devices; it's any devices connected to the network. We also have network elements, which may also consider as things, but they are more specific elements. They are elements that are involved in the network operations, in fact, in the network switching, routing, and so on. So they are not end devices, so they are considered apart. They are not considered as things in the Internet of Things. Internet is the interconnection of networks, and when we mean IoT, it's networks with their devices connected to them as end devices. And there are many communication or network technologies, IP, Ethernet, Wi-Fi, but also Bluetooth, Zigbee, Z-Wave, LoRa, narrowband IoT, 5G, LTE, and other technologies. You will see that in this presentation, we will focus more on IP, Ethernet, Wi-Fi. But things may apply also for other technology, but with modification in many parts. So it is also IP, V4 or V6, but we also use other technologies such as software-defined network or network function virtualization that may be used for network control and management for this kind of IP networks. And we consider all the layers, the lower layers, layer 1 physical or layer 2, for point-to-point to multi-point to multi-point communication protocols. The network protocol is mainly IP with network control, and for the network control, we consider also software-defined network possibilities. And there is also the part of management of the network using, for example, some aspects of network function virtualization. For the upper layers, we also consider services and application up to layer 7 and even above, with applications on devices, just on smartphones that are connected to IoT devices. We also are considering in some aspects that application may be in the cloud. So it's a really large scope in terms of layers and technologies and environments that we can have in Internet of Things. So all what is in red is what we consider mainly in this presentation. So any connected end-to-end devices, interconnection of networks with their devices, IoT service applications, network control and network management. What are the relevant network technologies for IoT? So what I did is I look at what Wikipedia say about Internet of Things in terms of enabling technologies. So this is a link above. And when we go to this web page, we can go to this web page of Wikipedia. There are a list of technology for short range, medium range, or long range wireless or wired technologies. So this is a summary of the technologies that are listed in this page, web page from Wikipedia. And what I wanted to know is the popularity of each technology. So I use techniques that was suggested by Sébastien Tixoy, which is online here, to use Google search with IoT plus the name of the technology, and to see how many results are output by Google search for the association of IoT with the technology. So this is the results that that I obtained. So 100% is when we put IoT alone, it's the reference, and then for each technology, I have the relative number of output results for this technology. As you can see that Wi-Fi is the most popular one. Then you have 5G for the wireless medium range, IoT Ethernet for the wired. Bluetooth is a bit more popular than IoT Ethernet, also in wireless or short range, and so on. So the top 5 are Wi-Fi, 5G, Bluetooth, Ethernet, and LTE. But here, what we focus is we focus on private networks. So we mainly focus on wired and wireless short range. For wireless short range, Wi-Fi is a good, very popular technology that we need to look at. And for the wired technology, and IoT Ethernet is also important to look at. So we mainly focus on Ethernet and Wi-Fi. You will not. There are some people in the team that work also on Bluetooth, but here I will not mention Bluetooth technology. So the context of IoT private network is the fact that you may have different private networks for different smart environments, and what we are doing, there is the idea of interconnecting these different smart environments in an easy way. So the smart environments, you know them, smart home, building, office, and city. And you have many. We are in each of these kind of environment, which is in gray in this figure. People are surrounded by different devices that are interconnected in the same network or through the internet. So the internet. So in terms of interconnection, for example, of home enterprise networks, you have the bring your own device paradigm that allow people to bring their own device that are home devices in the network of the enterprise. You have also the reverse that we are currently using, telecommunicating. Telecommunicating. So we work at home as we do today, and so we have some devices at home that we can use. We have also the PC from our enterprise or our organization, and we can be connected to things that are in the office remotely. And there are some questions about that, how to isolate devices in terms of security, privacy, and how to use them also in an easy way, how to easily control and manage them. So the topic of this, the main topic of this presentation is how to control and manage IoT networks and their devices. So it's both network and devices. For the network, we need to have a flexible programmable control. We would like to have some kind of autonomous management. We need to take into account the devices, so we need to have a fine-grained control and management. And for the devices, so we need to manage the devices in the networks. We need to take into account privacy and security aspects as much as possible. We need also to have some monitoring. So this is the main items that we'll tackle in this presentation. So the first work that we do in our team in Bell Labs for this purpose is to build a software-defined network cloud-based platform for IoT private networks, and it is called Future Spaces. So the idea of the SDN cloud base is the idea of softwareization programmability of networks and everything. So software-defined SDN means software-defined network or networking, and NFV is network function virtualization. And this is the idea of softwareization. This is the drawing you have here. You have a programmable infrastructure, and SDN you have two kinds of virtualization: the SDN view of virtualization and the NFV view. In SDN, the definition of the abstraction is really an abstraction of what is inside the networks. It's the abstraction of the hardware resources, network elements, to be used by software then to manipulate these elements. It is mainly for control, for controlling the hardware by the software. In NFV and cloud things, the abstraction is a bit different. It is the separation of, the virtualization is a bit used in a different way, the word. It is a separation of the functionality from the infrastructure. You separate hardware and software. And here virtualization means that you have some resources, but you don't know where they are. They are somewhere, and you can use it without taking care about where they are. And the programmability is the fact that you can have a software control of the hardware by the user through software programmability. And according to the context, user may be different, maybe a different level. It may be expert people, operator of an infrastructure, but it can be also end users in the context of home networks. So the softwareization is really the idea of having a software-based control and management of the elements in the network, including the network elements, switch and routers, and also the end devices, the IoT devices. So the first things that we do, it's the first paper that we published in a workshop in CNSM in 2014. It is called Majordome. So it's we play with the word Majordome. The idea is really to have a software that help the people to use their devices in the home network, which was our first use case for that. So you have the physical realm with the devices connected to a home network and to the internet through the internet service provider. And the elements are connected to the network, and they can be used together to get some application. For example, you can have a TV with video server. You can have you can play games with on a TV and so on. So they can be grouped, and this is what we call a community of connected object. And we have a representation. So this is an abstraction in the SDN meaning. We have some abstraction of these real devices for software use for software manipulation. So we have the virtual objects that are the image of the objects, and the chains of virtual objects that are the image of the community of connected objects. And you can also, if you want, have some. It is called here avatars. It's a representation of what people can do with the objects and the community of the objects, depending on the right they have to use them. So this is what I explained: the connected objects and the community of connected objects. And for this Majordome, we derived the first architecture that is really inspired from SDN and from the documentation of software-defined network normalization in ETSI. We have the connected objects in smart environments, and we have different planes. So this is the data plane with the connected object and the network elements, and you have different level of control plane. It can be hierarchical as it is done in SDN. And in the first control plane level, you can control the network elements like in normal networks, but you can also control the connected objects, like elements in a network by virtual object controllers. And then you have an upper layer that handles the different connectivity between the different elements in the networks, which is the COVO controller. And on top of it, you have the application plane. So the application plane, control plane, and data plane, as they are presented here, with the OSS on the left, are really elements that are defined by software-defined network normalization, standardization. So it is compatible with the SDN architecture. It is a NAV-like approach, cloud-like, because you have softwareization of some functions that can be implemented in the cloud. And this was our first approach. From this, we derived the idea of software-defined LAN. So local area networks are physical networks that connect devices locally to a router, for example, a switch router. And they are connected together and they see each other. You can have some broadcast protocols that are used to make them to have discovery of the object by themselves, auto discovery, and they can work together like by knowing the devices that are connected to the network. In software-defined LAN, we want to have the connected objects behaving like if they are in a physical LAN, even if they are in different places. So what we define SDLAN by grouping. So this allows the isolation of different elements in the same logical entity that is the software-defined LAN. And the way it is implemented is that we use software-defined network capabilities by implementing some specific rules in the OpenV switches in the routing tables of the Open virtual switches. What we can say on this software-defined LAN, what is important to understand is that the devices may be in different homes, like it is represented here with Bob and Alice home. You have devices that are in Bob home and devices that are in Alice Bob. But with the implementation of the software-defined LAN, the device really see each other as if they were in the same LAN. This means that if, for example, if you want to use UPnP, universal plug-and-play protocols to make them discover each other, in this case, we need to use the UPnP uses some broadcast protocols for the discovery. The broadcast protocols are working in software-defined LAN, meaning that even if the devices are in different physical LAN, because they are in the same software-defined LAN, the multicast or broadcast protocol packets are forwarded to each devices within the software-defined LAN, so that the devices can do not see that they are not in the same physical LAN. They believe they are in the same LAN because they are in the same software-defined LAN. So this is what you represent here. We have a controller, a smart environment controller with the software-defined LAN that are defined on some for some virtual objects, and the rules are implemented by the network controller on the OpenV switch here. And this is on the demand of the user using some HTTP REST API. And if the devices are in different networks, in fact, we just have a tunnel between the two. We set up a tunnel between the two LAN, physical LAN, and the devices are connected by some rules in the OpenV switches in each of the gateway here. And the rules allows the broadcast of some packets to the right devices, which allows them to see as if they are in the same software-defined LAN. So we from this we expand the concept of software-defined LAN to spaces, and this is what we call future spaces, which is in the FutureX networks, which was in the FutureX networks concept in Bell Labs. So the software-defined LAN is the solution to implement the future spaces. You have different spaces, virtual spaces, for the devices that are visible by the visitor, some spaces that are visible by myself, it's my home, for example, by myself and my colleagues at work, and the devices that are visible by my family inside the home, or the family in other home also. And here is the concept of virtual place. To make this work, we have the software-defined controller. The majordom, we limited the usage of this terminology now in the application, the management application that handle the setup of software-defined LAN to make the device connect, talking to each other. Here I will bypass this one. It's another how it is implemented. So you have different networks that are connected together through secure tunnels, and in each of the physical local area networks, devices are connected to each other through software-defined LAN. And how it is implemented, you have some, for each network, local network, you have some future space gateway that handle the tunnels to other networks, and that also manage the devices and the rules in the Open switches to set up the software-defined LAN that connect the device together. The majordom is the entity that manage the network in terms of rules, who has the right to do what. When I say who, it's who and what, who the people and what the device. It handles also the virtual objects that represent the physical object in the network. And there are also some behaviors that are implemented to handle the way the devices are connected. And the virtual spaces are the entity that manage devices that are of the same type, the devices for the work, the devices for multimedia, and so on. On top of it, with a colleague of mine, Michel Lepalec, we wanted to have things working on this kind of platforms, but at the service level, on top of this platform, and we wanted to look at things how it works for the service level, and we work on what we call IoT service recommendation. So IoT, did we use the platform I talked about before? In fact, for each IoT service, we can set up a software-defined LAN that connects the devices for this IoT service. What we call IoT service, it is an on-demand software-defined LAN establishment for a specific usage. For example, I give you an example. For video conferences. Here you see different people, Alice, Bob, Charlie, Dave, and Eve, who want to have some video conferences, but they use different set of devices. Alice uses a PC with a webcam, Bob uses a portable PC, Charlie uses a smartphone, Dave uses a tablet, and Eve uses a TV plus a camera. And we need also some devices for the coordination, so we need some applications to synchronize the video conferences. And the way we will use the platform that I described before is that we will select the device and we set up a software-defined network between these devices to enable the service, and the service will be really easy to use, because with the software-defined LAN technology, we will be able to make the device believe they are in the same network, same LAN, even if they are in different locations. And so in this process, we need to find the devices that are available for this device, for this service. So this is what we work with the universal characterization of IoT service that we use for automated recommendation. So when we think about IoT device and IoT services, in fact, the IoT devices are used by people with some connection with the physical real world. And for video conference, what we need is we need some audio, we need some video, and output at each time, and we need some control. This is what is represented here: control, input audio, input video, output video. And a video conference is a set of these physical interfaces for each user, for each people. So it's n times this pattern. So we have an abstract way, very efficient way to define what we need in terms of capabilities in terms of capabilities to get the final IoT service. So we focus on physical interfaces. And so what we do then, for each people that need to have this service, we try to find the devices that are near to them, that will enable them to get this service. So this n times this set of physical interfaces is the signature of the IoT services, and we use it for the service recommendation. So we developed some algorithms that allow an efficient search in the different buildings to get these physical interfaces together to work for the required IoT service. So the algorithm that we develop is simply a signature matching algorithms that is adapted to our context. So we developed this slide show the implementation of this recommendation assistant. So we use the majordom. So this is the majordom and the network controller that I talked about before for the software-defined network cloud-based platform for IoT networks. And what we developed on top of it is an IoT service recommendation assistant that uses the algorithms that I described before, in the slide before. So I will show some of the demo that we set up worked for that. So there was two demos. The first demo was a proof of concept. So you have the signatures that are shown here. For example, video surveillance, you just need input video and some control. Output video, sorry, and some control for the one who will get the image of the video surveillance, so 1 times, and n times you need some input video, the n location that you want to, in which we want to have the video surveillance. Video conference, you have the 5 physical interface I described before, n times. And here we have another service, which is Earth remote control. We did something to get the heart rate on one side, and on the other side, for the remote control, we need to have a control interface. And here it's just represents the vibration of the smartphone. Some element to give an alarm if there's something goes wrong with the Earth signal. And so here in this first version of the demo, we have the description of all the interfaces on all the devices. And for example, here Brenda has this smartwatch with this available physical interfaces. And she wants to know what she can do with this physical interface. And with some pattern matching, we try to find some services that can use this physical interface. And we find that Brenda can use it with her doctor, with the smartphone of her doctor to get the remote Earth remote control service. We go further. We really implement this in different smart places. So we have a demo with some in each place you have a gateway with some devices connected to the gateway. So you have that apartment here, Alice home, doctor's office, and Alice vacation home. And we could perform the recommendation of some IoT services within this demo with these 4 smart environments. So what we did, so what we want, for example, it's still the remote control, the remote earth control. So we want to get a service in which the doctor will be able to control remotely the earth of dad in his apartment. So what we did is we have some interfaces, some graphical user interfaces in which you can select the service you want to use. So it is remote earth pulse monitoring. No, it was remote blood pressure monitoring, sorry, that we wanted to have here. And by doing that, we select, once we selected this the service class, we select the place where we want to have this service. So we need to select doctor's office and also that apartment. So once we select the different places, in each place we need to select the devices that are corresponding in this place to the service. So for example, in that apartment, we can select a blood pressure monitor. And once we have selected the devices, we just have to push a button, and then we use the FutureSpace platform to set up a software-defined LAN between the 2 devices to get the service. And then we get the service, the devices are connected, and we get the values that are given by the device to the, and this is printed in the screen of the PC of the doctor. Not hesitate to stop me if you have some question. And so this was a bit all the work that we do. And from this work, what we wanted to do in more detail is the management of devices, IoT devices, and to know what are the type of devices that are used that are connected to the network. And so the context is the context of complexity for end users. There are many devices, many applications, and people don't know how to use them with their full capabilities. So we need a digital assistant. We showed some previous works in the previous slide, in which we try to have some recommendation, but to make it work completely, what we need is we need to know the capabilities of the connected devices, and this is why we need to identify the type of the connected devices. So we use some machine learning techniques to do that. So also what I show you here are some work that will be published for ICC this year, and the conference will take place next week, in fact. And I will present the results next week at this conference, which is a video conference for ICC this year. So we have some IoT device captures, and from these captures, we extract some features. And the originality of our work is the fact that we are using really relevant features, 2 types of features: traffic features, so the usual ones, packet lengths, inter-arrival times, port number, and so on, but also textual features that can be extracted for the payload. You have some packets that are exchanged at the beginning of the connection of the network to the network by devices, in which there are really useful information that you can use to identify the type of device, as you will see later. Then we train some models, and we have some classifiers, n classifiers in parallel for n types of devices. So this is for the learning phase, and for the usage phase, when you have an unknown device that connects to the network, we also extract the features, and we use the classifiers that have been trained to take a decision on the type of the device that is connected. So this is the main principle. The machine techniques that we use are quite classical ones. We tested the five of them: random forest, decision tree, can nearest neighbors, super vector machine, and naive Bayes. And you see the results that we obtained for them. So they are generally good results. Maybe SuperVector machine was the worst one for the accuracy, with a bit less than 90% in terms of accuracy. And the best one was Decision Tree for two reasons. It was the best in terms of value of precision and accuracy, but it is also the easiest to understand and to interpret by looking at the decision trees results, by doing some inspection of the decision trees that have been set up by the algorithms. And you can note that we do not try artificial neural networks. In fact, we did not need to do that to test artificial neural networks. The results were good enough with these simplest techniques. So we have a data set with 28 devices. 22 devices come from an existing paper from some people from Metinen et al. That was published in 2017. And we add 6 devices from our lab to get other devices. And at the end, what we get quite good diversity in terms of devices for our test. We have 5 categories of devices: cameras, plugs, switches, smartphones, and scales. And for each of them, you have at least 2, sometimes 3, or 4, even for the plugs, models of devices for each category. We evaluate our solutions with these devices, but first using only statistical traffic features. The statistical traffic features, with the statistical traffic features, we have a quite bad accuracy, around 70% on average. So it was not good enough if you use only traffic feature. We also try with only textual features. So I will not have some representation like this one for that, but it was a previous work that we did. It was done last year. And in the 28 devices that we used, there are 2 devices that do not have textual features that are available. They do not speak too much to the network. So we were not able to detect the type of these 2 devices. This is why we have only 84% success in terms of identification of the type. But now we mixed, and it was the interest of our work for ICC, we mixed the 2 kind of features, textual and statistical traffic features, and we get a very good results if we do that. You can see that there are almost 100% or a bit less for almost all of the devices except 2 of them. But these 2 of them are of the same manufacturer, same type. It's the same category of device. They are plugs, but of 2 different models. But the models are very, very close to each other. So we may consider that it's almost the same type of devices. So using both textual information and statistical characteristics, we were able to have a very good accuracy with our machine learning-based solution, 97%, or even more than 99% if you consider that these 2 plugs are in fact of the same type, because they are very, very similar. Just 2 models that are a little different. Here I show you the experimental setup that we used, and we make a demo with this experimental setup. It is also the setup that we use to get the information for the 6 additional devices that we use for our data set. So you have connected devices that some devices can be connected to the Wi-Fi access point. Other devices are connected to the Ethernet switch. The access point is connected to the Ethernet switch, and the Ethernet switch is connected to the broadband residential gateway, which is connected to the internet. Why we use this Ethernet switch is to connect a PC with a mirroring port. So here we mirror all the traffic that's going through the Ethernet switch. So we are able to capture the traffic from Ethernet, but also from Wi-Fi through this Ethernet switch. And we have all our software is implemented on this PC to get the capture and the analysis of the type of devices that is connected using the machine learning technique. Just check the time, so still 10 minutes, okay. Here this is the prototype architecture for the software implementation. So you have the hardware, the devices that are here, they are the real physical devices. In terms of software, we have first in JavaScript some software to get the traffic capture and some server, HTTP server to communicate with the rest. In Python, so Nesrin Amar developed this software to analyze the capture and have the learning phase and then the usage phase of the machine learning techniques that I presented before. And I also have some graphical user interface using HTML and JavaScript to show the results of the analysis. And this is just a screen capture of our software. So you see that here you have 5 connected devices. 3 of them have already been analyzed. And there are 2 unknown devices that have just connected. So this one are just connected. This one was connected a few tens of seconds before. So the traffic capture was ready, but the analysis has not yet finished. And here I show what the results for this camera here. So you see you have the raw data that are captured from the protocols, the payload of the packets on some protocols that are used when the camera connects to the network. So you see that multicast DNS is used. You have the MAC is an indication on the manufacturer. You have some links that are requested by the device through DNS. That is also an indication. And UPnP, you have also a lot of very informative data that can be used. And for the identification, so this is this model. So the model, you see that you can have it in multicast DNS, but also in UPnP. The manufacturer, you have it with the Mac manufacturer, but also with UPnP. So there are many type of, and the fact that it is a camera is already in the model description, camera, internet camera. So you see that here with this device, textual information is available and very useful to identify the type of device. But when we do not have this kind of information, the other type of features on traffic patterns can be used to supply to do the job in the place of the textual features when they are not available. So here we had the best demo award at IME last year on this work. And I will finish now with what we are currently doing. So with the work we did with Nesrin Amar and Sébastien Tixoy last year, there was the idea of having some platform to get IoT network monitoring. And when I say IoT network, it's not only a network, but it is mainly, in fact, the devices. What is the type of traffic that is emitted by the devices? To identify the type of the devices when they connect, but also then it is something that we did not do in the PhD of Nesrin, but we may also want to know if there are some abnormal behavior of devices in the network. So these are the different use cases. So fingerprinting of IoT devices, as I showed before, anomaly detection. This is what I tried to explain you. You may also have some IoT service fingerprinting, meaning that it's not only one device that you want to identify, but you want to identify the wide to which usage the devices are involved. Is it a video conference? Is it video streaming? Is it another kind of service? And by analyzing the traffic between devices, not only from or to one device, but between devices, we may expect also to identify the kind of service that is used in the network. And so for this, we need to have a generic traffic monitoring architecture, and this is what we are currently working with Pune, who is intern with us and who is connected to this session, but also with a colleague, Rémi Varlot. And Sébastien is also following this internship from Sorbonne University. So there are some commonalities for IoT network monitorings. Traffic capture and network probe can be shared. Any network monitoring need traffic capture and/or network probing. So this is something common. But the traffic analysis depends on each use case. So the traffic analysis is really an implementation that depends on the different usage. And you may have also traffic reporting. Traffic reporting is once the analysis is done, you need to report to people the results of the monitoring. And here you have some privacy and security issues that need to be taken into account. So what is the architecture? How we see the architecture today? So you have a monitor IoT network infrastructures with network elements and IoT devices. So you have three types of monitoring: traffic capture, which is passive monitoring; probe proxy, which is active monitoring. You send probes and you get a response. We may also have some monitoring of the network elements using specific API from the network elements. Then we have a network analysis module that will use one or the three of this box below. And then you have the monitoring orchestration that will instantiate the different elements, control, manage them, manage their life cycle, and so on. And you have a client function that will request the monitoring and get the report from the IoT network monitoring architecture. So this is a global view of the architecture as we see today, and we are currently implementing them in GNS3, as you will see later. First, this is the architecture that we developed with NetScreen for the IoT device identification type, and you see the kind of mapping we have with the architecture that I described here. So you have traffic capture here, traffic analysis was done there, and with the monitoring there was almost no orchestration. It was a bit handled here in this in the device management and HTTP REST server. And the client function was the GUI of our demo. And so, as I said, we are currently with Pune and my colleague Rémi Varlot implementing this architecture on the GNS3 emulation platform. So here you have a virtual machine that acts like a gateway, a router, and like a switch, in which we implement our network capture traffic modules. You have some Docker host here, in which you have some Dockers and one Docker per traffic analysis. So this is in the cloud. This represents something that could be a cloud in real networks. And we have the orchestrator, which is in the separate VM, virtual machine. But this, I cannot show more today on that. It is current work. So to conclude, we work first on a SDN cloud-based platform for IoT networks to ease the usage of IoT devices by people. There is the concept of software-defined LAN, which is micro-slicing, and that can be used for security privacy aspects, having some separated communication between devices according to the usage. You can have collaboration between different environments through with the concept of future spaces. There are also work from colleagues on security aspects using a blockchain with the future space platform. I gave at the end a link to the publication on that, but I was not involved in this work, but it's a work in which some colleagues were involved. And we use this platform also to recommend IoT service to end user and working more at the service level and as an assistant on top of this main platform of future space. Then we work on specific management function, IoT network monitoring, and on this, the example of IoT device type identification was with the work of Nesrine and Sébastien was on this topic of monitoring of IoT network with a specific user application for the identification of the types of devices. So thank you for your attention. I was a bit long, 50 minutes. So here is a list. I will also let the slide of my presentation in the links website. This is the list of the publications that are related to what I presented today. So there are three parts. The first part is really on the Majordomo software-defined land future space concepts. The second part is more about IoT service management, recommendation and deployment. And the last one is about identification of the types of connected objects. Thank you for your attention.